right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Zach Eichenberger here, Director of Product for Controlled Product Systems Group. Just a heads up, you are being recorded so that we can share this session with others. As we always do, we'll include this recording along with some other resources in the post-webinar follow-up email. Please mute your mics just to maintain that audio quality, but we certainly encourage you to ask questions, use the chat line at the bottom of your screen. I and others will monitor that chat line and feed those questions back to Jerome and team as necessary. We're scheduled for 1 hour today. That includes plenty of time for Q&A. And today the topic is linear Bluetooth mobile credentials. And man, as you all know, it is a connected world out there. There's an app for everything. And I think that convenience and organization is really the overarching goal. And this really needs to apply to both the user of said technology and perhaps even more so for the administrator of the technology. It needs to be convenient and well organized for them as well. If the administrator of the technology finds the tech clumsy or painful, adoption rates are going to be really low. And I've reviewed many platforms along this line. Linear struck a very nice balance with their mobile credential platform. And to add one cohort to the conversation, we have the end user, the administrator, and the installer to think about here as well. So Jerome's going to demonstrate how the product managers had all parties in mind when bringing this product to market. So we have with us today Jerome Barraza, Senior Technical Trainer for Nortec. Also on the lines, Daniel Forte, Access Control Manager for Control Product Systems Group. We got Chuck Van Sickle, a few others on the line to answer those questions as well. So gentlemen, thank you so much for organizing this session. I think we were long overdue for a refresh here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. What do we got here?
Perfect. So just a little start here. I'm Jerome Barraza. I've been with Nortec for a little over 10 years now. So I've worked with a lot of different products within that family group. And this is the first product to come out that I feel like kind of works with everybody, right? And so today we're going to be talking about 3 different readers. Actually, one we call the NBT, and then the next we'll call the BT 125, and then the BT 135. And they all have their own little spots in the world. So first things first, I'm going to introduce you to the reader, show you what it looks like, and then do some agenda items here. So first things first, we're going to talk about the Prox reader. Then we're going to get into the actual Bluetooth reader. Then we'll go what's inside the box, what comes with the unit itself, and then installer setup. And then we'll go over the end user setup as well. So showing you kind of start to finish of what this product has and everything it uses. So what is the 125 reader, the NBT 125? The NBT 125 is currently what almost everybody else uses in the market. It's a standard credential, standard reader. We do sell options for the ISO cards, the clamshells, or even the key fob variants of them. And they're the standard card that most people use today. This is non-Bluetooth reader though. So it doesn't actually do any of the Bluetooth connectivity. It's just a plain reader, and you can tell that by the red LED on it. It is a 2-in-1 reader. It has an option to be mounted mullion style on the wall or with a single gang box style. So if you have a secondary, originally you're taking over a keypad, you can actually just take this over right into it. You've got a red and green LED, 125 kilohertz. We do HID cards, AWID, or Farpoint cards. And then the back end of this, wiring it up to your access control system, it works with any 26-bit formatted system. So you can use them with 26-bit cards. And of course, IP67, and then it's a Wiegand output from our system itself. That's just the 125 kilohertz or the non-Bluetooth variant of it. With that being said, we are releasing a bunch of new credentials. So we have a whole new line of credentials that have our logo on them, and they also have clamshell with the fobs, and then of course the ISO cards, so you can do printing on them as well. And what we mean is we're releasing a new variant of it is we are allowing custom credential choice. So you can choose what card numbers you're going to receive and the facility codes you're getting as well. And they're sold in a packs of 25. So you can customize those options. We used to do a standard 26-bit with facility code 11. We've changed that to still be our standard, but if you want a custom, you can customize that as well. So how does the NBT 125 work? It's pretty straightforward. You're going to use your standard credentials, swipe that reader. It's then going to go Wiegand from that reader to your access control. And then all you have to do is learn in that credential into that access control system, and it will unlock that door for you. That is our telephone entry. And if you come to our booth, you'll be able to see it physically working there as well, or control products as well. With that being said, we do have 2 additional readers as well. We have the Bluetooth 125, which operates very similar to our non-Bluetooth variant of it. And it will do Bluetooth credentials and regular credentials as well. We also have a BT 135, which is our newest credential. And that's the one that is kind of topping the shelves right now. And the reason it is because it is using what's called 13.56 secure encryption. So a lot of people don't know this, but 125 is actually the kind of the one that's been out the longest with the frequency. But 13.56 is our new encrypted frequency. So anybody's out there that's using those sniffers that listens into those 125 cards, 135 will not allow that. It actually stops what's called the man in the middle attack. So it actually adds a lot of security for that customer because it isn't easily accessible and hackable for that customer. The good thing is they all work almost identical. So if you are using the BT 125 or the BT 135, they're going to physically work the same. So you'll bring your credential to that reader. It'll then grant transfer all that data through Wiegand to our access control system, and it will then grant access. Anybody have a question? Nope. Okay, perfect.
I think we just had somebody unmuted there.
No worries, you're all good. You're good. So all of it communicates through Wiegand directly back to our panel, and it grants access there. So the next kind of category is what's in the box. Any Bluetooth reader is going to come with the reader itself, the actual mounting material as well. So you'll have the single wing box mount or the mullion mount, and it will come with a credential. This credential that comes in the box is very important for you. Actually, you actually only ever need one, but it comes in every single box just in case. And what this credential is, it's a Bluetooth range adjustment tool. This will allow you to actually adjust the range on your Bluetooth reader, because you don't want to do that, leave it at 30 feet when you have 2 readers within 5 feet of each other. That'll cause some issues, so you can actually lower that down so you don't have to worry about that. So now, how do I get that to work, right? I have all of those things set up. They're wired in. How do I get them to work? So you're going to go to either on the Android app, linear access control app, or on the iPhone side, you'll do linear access control app. So you just Google those on there. You could also actually follow on the actual credential, when you're looking at it, it'll say the app's name on there as well. So you can actually have the credential give you the access to it as well. Once you've downloaded that, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You open it up and it's going to ask you for a phone number. The reason we're asking for a phone number here is because it's going to text you the token for your credential. Once it does, it'll actually just send you that token. You then type in that token's information there and you hit enroll. That enrollment process may take up between about 5 to 10 seconds for it to actually enroll. Once it has enrolled, you'll get to this screen right here. You're free to go at this point because all you're going to do is tap add mobile credential. And then on the bottom of your actual credential card, there'll be a 16-digit number you can type in if you want to, or you can actually just hit QR code and it will pull up your camera. And this will allow you to actually scan that QR code on that credential. This is for the Bluetooth reader or the normal credential for normal users. This process is exactly the same. It'll scan that QR code and then pull up that new reader card right there. Once I have that credential, we're good to go. Here's the big thing is we're going to need to adjust that range for that credential, right? So that you're not getting feedback from any of the other readers nearby. So we lock down that range adjustment function to the first 10 minutes that reader is powered on. So most likely this reader's been powered on longer than 10 minutes. So you're going to need to power cycle that reader for it to actually allow that Bluetooth range adjustment card to function. So you have to power cycle it really quickly. And then all you're going to do is you're going to tap on that card and tap here to unlock, but it does give you an option on the back to show you the ranges on here. So 1 beep is short, 2 is medium, 3 is long, 4 is maximum, and 5 is a percent tap and go. Those numbers don't really help me too much. So I've actually added in the ranges for that credential, right? So 1 beep is about 2 inches. 2 beeps is 10 inches. 3 beeps is 15, which is default. 4 is 30. And then 5 is physically having your phone touch the reader itself. So the way you get this to work is you're going to tap to unlock, and then you'll hear the reader beep. The reader will beep the number of beeps that it's hooked up to. So first it'll beep 4 times, telling you it's going from 3 beeps to 4. So it's going to 30 feet. And then you can keep going if you need to lower that down. So all you're going to do is open this credential up, tap until you hear the number of beeps you're looking for. And on default, about 15 feet is normally fully functional with no problems. 2, if you're having really close readers together.
Hey, Jerome.
Yep.
Couple questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So the reader comes with a air quotes credential, right? And that credential is for that specific reader.
So that credential is a what we call a BLE, a Bluetooth limit adjustment. And so that credential is actually not even a valid credential to unlock the door. It is just there so that the installer can adjust the range of that reader. Right?
Okay.
And every reader that we sell has one. But you don't need one for every single new reader. One of them will do the job on every single reader, but we send one just in case you don't have one or you have a new employee that needs to use it as well.
I see. So that if you're an installer, you would load up that BLE credential, if you will, and you could take that to all of your readers and adjust range by power cycling and adjusting the range from there.
Correct.
Perfect. And over the chat line, we'll just hit this one. Current lead times on these readers, are they available today?
They are available today, unless you tell them to ship it to the wrong place and they don't show up on time. That's my fault.
Sound like we had one of those situations. And then the difference between those two readers was simply what physical credential might be used on site. So if you're using 125 kilohertz physical credentials on site and you want to continue to use those, you choose the 125. And if you're going to go 1356 megahertz, you would choose the other reader.
Correct. Yeah. So the big difference is security, right? If you guys you probably worked with iClass since, right? iClass is a high security reader and credential. So we've done the same thing. So if you are looking to take over existing stuff, use the 125. If you want new credentials with more security on them, then you can use the 135 for sure.
It's a solid PSA, guys. Like you can go to a grocery store kiosk and duplicate 125 kilohertz these days. So good call out.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then so you can continually change that if you want to. You just need to power cycle the reader to improve that range. So now the end user's credential. It's pretty straightforward. It gives you the same functionality as if you are using the Bluetooth range adjustment. Instead, it will just tell you what you need to do for the end user side. So you're downloading the exact same app, and it's telling you how to add that credential as well. So it's giving you the app name, goes with Google or Android. You have the QR code, and then you have the numbers here that I was talking about, letters here that I was talking about earlier as an option. Now, all of those options are the same as if you're using the other credential. The big difference is right here at the bottom. It says ID and then gives you a number. That number tells you it's an actual credential because the other one doesn't have that option. So you don't have a credential number there. So it's going to be the same process for this end user to download it and then get it up and running. So
can I pause there? Because I do think this is very unique and very helpful that you've created this process. So if you've been in the industry a long time, what you're used to is handing out a card or handing out a transmitter. And with other platforms, everything's virtual. This gives you that option, right, to actually hand a card to a user and say, okay, go download the app, load up your card, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And or even if this is something I've heard a few people using is if they don't want to hand that card out, right? We actually did this in our building. They didn't want to hand out every card to everybody. What they did is they actually took a picture of the card itself and emailed it to us as a JPEG. So I can just scan it through my computer screen instead of physically get handed the card as well. So you can do electronic as well. It's just a lot nicer to have the card in hand if you need it.
You've got both options there.
Yeah.
Now, what about, sorry, and you may be getting there, sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but what about facility code if I have facility code in play on the site?
Yep. So by default, if you don't customize these cards, because you have to customize them if you want to, by default, the facility code's 11.
Okay.
But you can customize what your facility code is if you
10.
Order a specific customized number, right? I don't think there's any extra cost to it. It's just making sure that you get the correct facility code.
Got it. Thank you.
So it's the same process as the installer options. So you're just going to download the same app. You will do the same process to activation. So you enter your phone number. They'll ask you for a code. You'll type the code in there, and then you have the option to tap. For us as the installer side and the tech side, you may already have the Bluetooth reader there, which is perfectly fine. There'll be a little plus up here on the top right corner for you to add a new card. And that does the same process as clicking this big add button here. So when you do that, you're just going to use that QR code and do the same scan that we did before on the new credential, and it will pop up just like this. So So now we can see that plus mark right up top here. That's how we add it. And then it acts just like a normal card would. It's got the same information on there. You just tap it and you can tap to unlock. And if you're within the Bluetooth range, you have 10 seconds to get within that range, and then it will actually trigger the door to unlock. So it gives you 10 minutes of transmission to unlock that door. Now, a few other things I do like to talk about is auto unlock options. So what this means is I don't really like having to tap here to unlock for it to actually unlock the door, right? That doesn't sound like an easy process for me. So what we've done is we've said, hey, when you open this app, do you want your card to automatically unlock the door? Right? Just trigger the unlock automatically. So auto unlock says my favorited card is going to auto unlock this door. And the one that is favorited is the one that has a star on it. So that's the one that's automatically going to play as soon as I open the app. So now we do have a bunch of part numbers. There's a bunch of new stuff that we're offering here. So for the non-Bluetooth reader, the model number is going to be the NBT 125-W. So I saw a question there. Someone asked, do you still have to open the app for it to auto unlock? That is correct. As of right now, you do need to open up the app for it to unlock the door. We are currently working on the process of not doing that. Can't confirm or deny any other options on it. But as of right now, you do need to open the app for it to work.
Does that mean it just needs to be running in the background?
You can have it running in the background, but truthfully, my recommendation is actually kill it after you're done. So you just open it, and once it starts opening, it'll trigger that Bluetooth connection. But you still have to open the app somehow in the phone.
So if you open the app, go through the door, come back an hour later, will it automatically open the door without unlocking the phone?
It will not. It requires you to unlock your phone. And that is the security function.
And is the reader directional at all, or is it got a 360-degree purview?
And that's why we still require you to unlock it. It is a 360. It gave us the best range. The issues in originally developing it was the mono direction was giving the range is like drastically smaller. So giving you an omnidirectional option there, you get everywhere around that reader, gives you a good range.
How many cards can the app hold?
I had 67 in the app at once. So I don't think there is a limit. If you run after 67 and you still have more, let me know. I was testing it to see how long until it would break, and it didn't break after 67. So
Gotcha. Thank you. Well, hey, it's better than having 67 keys on your belt, right?
Absolutely. I would agree there. But with the non-Bluetooth reader, we have the option for ISO cards, clamshells, or key fobs. And then we have just regular ones that will give you facility code 11, 26-bit Wiegand. And then we have custom ones that give you the same option, but they're custom for HID, AWID, for both ISO, clamshell, and fobs as well. So anything that has a C at the end of it is a custom option, so you can do custom cards. And that's for the 125. Now,
if we wanted to do custom cards, is that something that we just define the bit structure, or is it like a list of custom quote unquote to choose from?
So the custom cards, so they're always going to be 26-bit, but you can choose the facility code and the encoded code or the card number, start and end option there. So you don't get to say 32-bit, but you can say 26, facility code 23, card number starts at 538 or something like that.
And Chris, That was Chris Peterson there. We could use a data bender, right, to change bit structure, or no?
Yeah, we can always do that. And you said that earlier in the presentation about it being 26-bit. So I guess I had a brain freeze and forgot about that. But custom can mean two different things. And one of them is just custom range, which is what we're talking here. The other one is custom format, which I should have kept my mouth shut on that part of it. But yeah, you're right, Zach. We have data benders if somebody ever needs other true custom formats other than 26-bit.
So the good thing is so I know I'm talking about the Bluetooth reader. If you do have a custom format that you need, or you're working with custom cards like a 37 or 33 or something like that, you can use that on our access control system, which is a huge benefit, is that we don't specialize or require you to use 26. 26 is just probably the easiest most people are used to.
We actually do that quite often with you're talking about the E3 access control system. We do that a lot with the toll tags all over North America.
Oh yeah.
Jerome, Daniel Forte here. We did have a question in the chat. Is the credential that you receive a one-time use, or can it be used on multiple devices?
And they're talking about this end user credential?
Correct. Yeah. So you give me essentially my QR code, right, with the credential number on there. Is that a one-time use, or?
It is a one-time use for that credential. It's just like a normal card. You can only have one person with that card. And then do keep in mind that if they do lose that phone, it is locked to that phone's MAC address. So they will need to get a new credential at that point as well. So it's like them losing their keys.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that's the 125. The 135 and the 125W. The 125W is going to use these same credentials, right? The same ISOs that our 125 uses. But it also gives you the option to use the Bluetooth as well. So you get the normal 125 credentials, and now you get Bluetooth as well. 135, you get the 135 credentials, which comes as standard 26-bit weekend, facility code 11, and then random card numbers, or the custom choice there. And then you get clamshell options or key fobs. This is a custom format. So 1356 is particularly ours. So you would have to use these credentials for it to function at all. So keep that in mind, that if you are having this spec out for a job, making sure that customer knows, you will have to order new fobs for this, because none of the ones currently out there will work. I see another question. Can this be programmed to two devices on site? Mid-range building with 2 doors. I'm not quite sure if I understand what you're asking there.
I think what they're asking there is, I've got 2 doors on the facility. Can I program that credential to either door? And that's really a function of your access controller, right, Jerome?
Absolutely. So if you have 2 different Bluetooth doors, you can actually put them in just like their normal credential readers. So programming in the back end will be like the access level will determine if they have access to those doors with those readers. You may want to, depending on how far the doors are away from each other, you may be able to lower the range for the Bluetooth so they don't interact with each other on that side.
Yeah, Jerome, one thing I think, again, you guys did really well here is you very much mimicked a traditional installation, right? So you can almost think about this like any other card reader or access control system. The only difference really is using that phone for a card versus using an actual card. And once that reader reads the mobile credential, it's just sending Wiegand data, again, just like any normal card reader. Is that a good summation?
Absolutely. It is one of my favorite things to say is if you have any units out there that work with Wiegand 26-bit reader, this this reader will work with it. So anybody that's looking for an upgrade for an access control system, right? Their customer wants them to upgrade it and give it new functionality. This is a great way to sell it is, hey, you don't need to pull out all the whole access control out. You can just swap the readers for these new Bluetooth readers, the same connections, same wiring, and it functions almost 99% the same, except now you have a Bluetooth credential on someone's phone to gain access there. And I see another question. I'm not sure if we even have that option.
So
Go ahead.
Bruce, maybe you could actually clarify a little bit. I think I can tell you if one of those credentials is kicking out just standard 26-bit, or sorry, just standard 125 kilohertz, you could probably use that credential on the 125 kilohertz prox reader. Yeah, I don't think so. CAC military card, I'm not familiar with it either, quite frankly. But again, I doubt that's a 125 kilohertz card, standard HID format. But if it was, you could use that card on the 125 kilohertz reader. But
I don't think it is, because I'm pretty sure it's the HID high security frequency.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Probably not, because our encoding is different, because if it's a 13.56, ours is different. But I would love to see if we get one of those in-house to be able to scan and check with it to get up and running, which is the CAC card. That would be an awesome option there. That is what I have for today. Are there any questions?
Oh, there one came in there. So military card protocol, specific encoding. Same goes for federal. Yeah. And TWIC, I know TWIC's cards are used on airports and things as such. I think they're going to be somewhat proprietary. I'm always full of questions, but so if we lose our phone, then that credential goes with the phone. It's tied to the MAC address. I assume same case if they were just simply upgrade their phone.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. As long as if it's the same phone that they're currently using, they're just doing software updates, it'll work perfectly fine. The issue is as soon as that phone changes or it loses everything in it that is that same phone, you'll have to do a new credential.
Yeah.
Good question. Is there a cost for Bluetooth credentials? The answer is yes. And it's about the same cost that it would be for a normal credential. And we designed it that way so that it is pretty price across the board, pretty price comparison to an actual physical credential.
Just to comment on that. Couple ways of looking at it. If you were an end user, wow, you'd love for them to be free, right? But as an installing integrator or manager of sites with preventive maintenance, so on and so forth, it's nice to have, again, that traditional methodology and reoccurring revenue opportunities for you. I would also argue for a property, it's not a horrible thing to have a cost to the credential. Why? Because if it's free, it has no value. And, users of that site, will not consider that with their credential, right? So in a traditional credential application, they're not going to just give that credential away because there's a cost to it. And so I know that's kind of an end around to trying to get your users to be conscientious when maintaining their cards and credentials, but it is one angle.
Well, the easiest way I explain it to customers most of the time is if you've ever lived in an apartment complex with a gate, they normally give you the first 2 transmitters you use to enter the gate for free. But if you lose one, they're going to charge you $60 to replace it. And so that's where I normally put it. I was like, normally the first one will be free for that end user, but after that, they're going to get charged for replacements for that actual unit, which makes sense. And in time wise, it does work in that price point side of things. And I did see another question here. Do we have any videos about the intercom / access control that we offer? We do. So one thing I do recommend that I always do at the end of these trainings is that we have a new actual training website. It's called Nortech Control University. You can actually log in and watch our entire access control training for both our commercial access and our residential telephone entry access, and actually get up to speed on it, working with it, and get programming with it. And it's about 3 to 4 hours long, but it is a self-paced class, so you can actually stop watching it and come back to it later on if necessary.
I'll put that link in the post webinar email.
Awesome. And then with that being said, there's another one that says, is it a one-time cost for those credentials? Yeah, it's just like your normal credentials you'd buy now. It's a one-time cost for each of those credentials, but if they are lost, you do need to buy a new one for that phone.
Yeah, again, traditional kind of architecture here, right? So I think that's a good question, because with some platforms, you've got to set up an account with the vendor. You've got a separate cloud portal to manage users. You've got contracts involved. You've got re-up for that platform every year, perhaps. So there's a lot of different, strategies, I guess, being implemented here. But this is very traditional. Buy the reader, buy the credential, right? Lose the credential, buy another credential.
Yep. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible, right? Understanding that most people in the industry have a mindset and they've used it forever. And why change? Why break something that works really well? So we're keeping it the same.
Yeah. Some good comments here, right? Bluetooth is more secure. Nobody's going to share their phone.
Absolutely.
All right.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I've lost my life if I left my phone at home. So it's a very easy way to make sure they're keeping their credentials for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a real good question on there about when upgrading to a new phone, can you transfer a credential, right? And I'm assuming the answer is going to be no, because it's tied to your MAC address. And so that MAC address is locked to that phone. Even though your phone number transfers forward to the new phone, your MAC address is your MAC address, and it's that phone specific.
Yeah, it's that hardware specific. So you will need to get a new credential at that point.
Yeah. And I wanted to jump in and add something here real quick too, is in our world, we love the idea as a user of using this Bluetooth credential, kind of back to is there a cost for it, right? It's like as a dealer or distributor or integrator, it's like there's models out there where they give it away. It's like, why in the heck would I want to sell that if I'm in business to make money? Any of us, right? That was the big deal. So I'm personally glad to see that there's actually a cost of that credential. It makes value to it. It makes us want to play with the toys, so to speak, right? And one other comment unrelated is, I think there also can be sometimes confusion, that there always was for me. When you think about a credential and you've got this card stock that's got this QR code on it, the QR code is really simply to get that code, that individual unique code on your phone. The QR code's got nothing to do with the interface to your reader or the access system. It's that enrollment of your phone through a reader that feeds that to the access control system. That's how it gets your phone registered to the access control system. But in a way, the reader is kind of just a dumb animal also, the Bluetooth reader. It just says, I saw something and I spit out data, period, right? But I think that can be a point of confusion sometimes, because we're used to dealing with a physical credential that's a card. And instead, there's a kind of a little extra piece in there. The credential now is stuck on your phone, and then your phone's got to be registered to the system.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so when he was talking about the QR code, if you look at these numbers right here, right below that QR code, when this QR code gets scanned, all it's doing is it's putting those numbers into this option here and automatically hitting submit. And then it's downloading that credential. That's all it's doing. It doesn't actually do anything else besides link that credential to that phone.
As we all know, transmitters are going away in lieu of cards and phones. But Jerome, with all the existing Act 31 DHs, that card format inside the Prox transmitter will still work on these readers. And then as the transmitter, the guys start to use their Bluetooth phone, you'll have higher security because transmitters won't be left in cars, or so then when they're broke into the garage, they can get in and out. So the higher security. So of course there's a cost to the card, but it's quite a bit less expensive than selling Act 31 DHs that cost you guys $20 a pop, and you're selling them for 40 to 60. So these are $4. So of
Absolutely.
course go sell them.
Absolutely. I see a really good question here. I don't think I'd specified it. It's asking if Bluetooth credentials are sold individually or as a group. And they're actually sold just like our other cards are. And they're packs of 25. So you order 25 Bluetooth credentials in there as well.
Kind of on the, overall cost of ownership, should also comment that there are other platforms, again, that kind of charge you on a monthly or yearly basis. And, maybe it's per user $10 a year. It doesn't seem like a lot of money. This is going to be a lot less expensive, right? You're not changing your phone twice a year. So you may lose it twice a year, but you're not intentionally changing it. So you kind of got to look at overall cost of ownership. It's actually very reasonable.
And stepping in here, I think one of the beauty of this product is the simplicity of the enrollment process, right? As opposed to, you mentioned it before, Zach, having to manage two portals, right? Some of the other, Bluetooth credentials out there, I'm managing a portal, issuing credentials to end users, and then going and managing whatever my, head end portal is. So in this one, essentially, you're really kind of just handing out that card like you classically would, and then managing a portal, right? Kind of brings it in a little easier.
Well said. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we did have an older reader. If you guys remember back in the past, we did have that process and we hated it, right? Doing that double programming was, oh my, did I forget to program it into the reader? No. So now this process is a lot smoother than that. Just like you would with your handing out credentials.
I got another. Go ahead.
Jerome, correct me if I'm wrong, but this same back end is what Hilton Hotels is offering to their clients for keyless entry to their hotel rooms, which, is one of the big reasons we went with it, for easy enrollment.
I'm not quite sure if that is a accurate fact. I don't know. It sounds like, Chuck, you may.
So it's an established platform, with all the security protocols and whatnot.
Yeah, for the app on the backside, yes.
Gotcha. Hey, Chuck made a good observation that, transmitters maybe seem to be going away. One topic of conversation internally, and you heard Chris Peterson chatting earlier. He leads the RFID department, and we do a massive amount of long-range RFID for vehicle entry. We've had tons of internal conversation around mobile credentials for vehicle entry, and when it all boils down, it's not a great recommendation to utilize, to leverage only an app-based product for vehicle entry. You're fumbling for the phone, you're trying to find the app, you're going to hit the button. And that's going to lead to probably backups at your gated entry. So I think
probably tickets, right? Because you're not allowed to drive with your phone out, depending on where you're at, right?
right. Yeah, good point. Right. You don't want people pulling that app up, as they're moving, could create a safety hazard. That's a good point. I never even really thought about that. So, for a gated entry, we need 100% accuracy. We need to process traffic, and we wouldn't at this point recommend any app-based product for vehicle entry. Transmitters are still better. RFID is still better. Our experience.
I think this is a great ad, though. I mean, what's going to happen is going forward, we consumers, or those consumers, if you will, because we're on the inside looking out, I suppose, but more and more and more people are going to just simply want and see and start getting Bluetooth as, you know what, can I use my phone? Yeah, you can. And then we got to, as dealers and integrators, security providers, help the customers understand the differences on these things. But, people are just going to get, I want Bluetooth. And by the way, so-and-so has it, right? And as I sit here right now, this is the best model that I've seen, to be honest with you. And I've looked at quite a bit too. And quite frankly, ironically, it's because there is a cost and a value. Go back to that value to the credential, right? And process wise, it's just like what we're all already doing. The only difference is I got to load that credential on my phone, right? So I think this is a great ad, and it actually, even in the mixed use application where I could have an RFID tag on my windshield and I drive up. Oh, by the way, instead of having a badge I carry around, I always have my phone with me too. So, and even visitor management, there's a whole forward-looking world. I think that we get to go with this whole technology.
Yeah, I think I think you're on the bar there, because I think like in the next couple of generations, it's the phone's going to be there 99% of the time, and them being able to go, I don't want a credential. I just want to just send it to me on my phone. Is there an app I can use? And it's going to be, I think, pretty quick coming into the standard on that side of things.
Jerome, Daniel, again, I got a question. So you had, when I pressed the button inside the app, I have 10 minutes, you said, essentially, to enter that field.
10 seconds.
Seconds, yeah.
10 seconds. Okay, it was 10 seconds. Got it. So if I have it where I have the auto unlock, and it is running in the background, there's no action required. I get why you probably don't want it running in the background, but say it was on my phone running in the background, phone was unlocked in my pocket, I would just walk up and it would unlock?
No. So you have to tell, like, so the auto unlock says, when I open this app, trigger this card, right? So you still have to open the app or tell the app to do something. So you can't just leave it in your phone. And the big reason why we don't currently do that is because of you walk close enough to that door, it'll just unlock that door. And we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah. There's other ones where it requires some sort of action, right?
Yeah.
And
so we are working, and we are looking at different ways of doing it so that we can have that function in your pocket. But as of right now, you still have to take that phone out of your pocket.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect example of why you want action is San Francisco. Units are living above their parking spot and underneath their gate or their garage door. And you don't want that, sitting on the dining room table, triggering the door below you because you're within 30 feet of it.
Early Bluetooth credentials and products in general had some challenges with that phone being connected to multiple Bluetooth devices. I know this is BLE, so maybe a little bit different. Is there any conflicts there?
No, I believe since it's the new Bluetooth 4, I believe, which is the newest functionality on Bluetooth, you get 5 concurrent devices connected. So unless you're doing something crazy, I don't think we have to worry about really pretty much anything.
Gotcha. 10-4. Very good. We've got about 9 minutes to spare. Certainly, if there's any more questions, you can feel free to unmute if you'd like to ask that question or via chat. But if not, we will send out again those post-webinar email notes. I'll get you some links to the sell sheets, the recorded video if you'd like to share that with anybody. We'll get you that link to the Nortech Training Center. You guys did a really nice job with that, as well as links to our website and kind of how to order. So, Jerome, very much appreciate you jumping on and training us today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, we'll look to have you on again soon.
Let me make one last comment. Not that I believe too many of, there's 54 of you out there. If anybody did use our old blue pass, it was about 2 years ago. That platform has gone down. We've taken it down. There's no more enrolling credentials. If you guys installed 1 or 2 or 5, whatever, we will, with a rebate program, we'll take those back to you, no charge, the credentials, everything, and put you into this new product. You will have to cover the labor or work that out with your end user. But that product, and we had up to 500 readers we were going to give away. So that program's still in play. If you run across the job, you know, we don't care if you sold it or somebody else did. If you want to take it over and turn it into this product, get with, you know, Control Products. They'll get with us, and then we'll do the swap out.
Very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for that. Thanks for jumping on, Chuck. All right, guys, everybody have a great day, and we'll send that post webinar email out by end of week.